I had a thought.
Hi, Sandy Mackey here with Conversations with Ask the Pool Guy.
So I had a thought.
This is the pool guy. Yeah,
Did
pool
you hear?
guy.
I had
Do you
a
have a
thought.
thought? What
I
kind
did.
of thought did you have?
You know, we talked about, we're collecting people on Facebook and on all of these social media avenues and sites, and that's having just come from the show, having talked to a lot of people about those. I think we fanned. Thought about this morning. We've been in the process of putting together a marketing group. Never once did we offer it or mention it to anyone else. First off, which we had an audience that we could have interacted with that probably was either too afraid to interact with us or too afraid to communicate with us later or something. And we had this perfect platform. However, so regardless of that,
It's a very busy time, and when you're up in front of the stage, remembering everything that you could possibly mention,
I recognize
agree.
that, but that's a
We
bullshit
fanned.
excuse.
So-
Because, hang on.
Okay.
Let me finish my thought, then you can say whatever you want.
Go ahead.
So I think that was something that we hadn't really discussed as to what to do with people,
Right.
other than, we did give them books and we did all of that. But that got me to think then about the marketing group in terms of what we could do with that online. And I think a commitment that we should make is that we do a daily video, marketing tips,
Okay.
exclusively for that. Not put onto any of our other channels, but do something, maybe not even daily, but more often, and something exclusive.
I like your commitment to daily.
Daily
We'll
is
go with
good,
that.
but that idea of being, let's do exclusive to that group.
Okay.
I mean, we can put stuff on YouTube and all of that, but if we said that that's the only place these particular videos are going, and suggestions of, marketing ideas and tips, and think of the thousands of things we come up with that we don't implement.
Absolutely.
But why don't we share them? So that was the end result of me feeling like we fanned by not sharing it with everyone else.
I did tell them they could go to askthepoolguy.com/marketing, where I do have on there that they could join the Facebook group if they
But that's
choose
a lot
to.
of work to get
We
there.
did get a few cards from there as well, and the other thing that I can do is follow up and find out if getting the list of the people who attended is a possibility.
And that's something we should have done on the front side as well. We should have collected email addresses.
Yeah, well,
Had people sign
it's kind of busy.
in. Yeah, it is kind of busy.
It was our first time.
I'm with you.
All right, so we're going to take a brief pause from Conversations with Ask the Pool Guy. We're going to do a timeout, and Al is going to give us his first super secret content for the Facebook group. What is your marketing tip of the day for the Facebook group?
No, I'm not.
Yes,
you can't
it
put
was
me on
your
the spot.
idea.
I said we. I said there's something we should do. I didn't say today,
Okay,
but we should work toward if we really see this online community, because
we should work towards it. Okay, go.
okay. So my tip is that we should work toward doing something really special for people, and because we have so many ideas, so many things that could be implemented that we're not
Absolutely.
going to use, that we should share them.
So here's my
Go. You're
I
good.
will.
Yeah.
Here's
Okay.
my marketing club tip of the day. So this is a timeout from our regularly scheduled podcast, and I'm just doing a tip only for the marketing group right now.
Right,
Okay.
here she goes.
Here I go.
Okay.
So my marketing tip for the day is make a goal of getting one video up on YouTube per day. We had so many conversations both in the session that we taught and then afterwards. It seemed like every conversation that we had with pool people, and they're like, how are you doing it? We reiterated stuff that we talked about in the program that we had done that morning. And the secret tip is video on YouTube as well as on Facebook. So my first Organic Marketing Club tip of the day is get one video up on YouTube a day.
I like it. And it doesn't even have to be good. Think about those first ones I sent to you from at the job site. They were horrible, beyond horrible.
Everything vintage becomes cool again. So if you watch a video, if you're in charge of putting up the video for your company and you watch something and you're slightly horrified the first time you see it, just wait 6 months to a year, pop that thing up, nobody will know the difference.
That's true.
I was never horrified.
I was kind of horrified. I was extremely horrified. I think one of those early videos was even me driving, and I put the flip cam in front of me and I was talking about something. Maybe that never even got up there, but it seems to me that in the last year I ran across that video somewhere.
I don't know. I'd have to look back at our very beginning vintage
The
footage
early
on
stuff.
Legendary.
Early stuff.
Okay, so back to the podcast. Regularly scheduled program.
Regular scheduling.
Here we go.
So just starting from there and thinking about what we could have done, which in life we're full of what could we have done differently or what could we have done more of. And I think the response was sensational. I think that we performed as talking monkeys as good as we could have, especially...
Fun fact.
Yes.
We haven't edited any of the footage from that event yet. But fun fact, afterwards, our team, we had 3 people from our team there, Karen, Mark, and Katie, and I think I got questions from all 3 of them, like, how long had you guys practiced? Or how did you know what you were going to talk about? Fun fact, we didn't practice.
As a matter of fact, we weren't even like communicating well that morning. It was a little bit of a
I
rough.
was communicating
Oh no,
fine.
I was fine. I don't know where you were, but we were not. We were not jiving somehow there. And Mark even said afterwards, he made the comment that it was going to be like almost 2 hours, and I was thinking I'm going to have to take a break in between, and he said the 2 hours just went by flawlessly, and he was very engaged. And I know Katie and Karen had said the same thing, so that was really interesting.
That might be the first time that they had all seen our organic marketing process.
That's probably true.
I mean, shame on us, although they could find it anywhere else, but we haven't ever made them sit in a room with us when we did that.
We've certainly talked about pieces, and they've heard all of the elements, but they've probably never seen that start to finish, center square view, what are you, and all of that, and go through it. So you're probably right.
Yeah.
Because they've been involved. Katie's been in the marketing club for a year now or more, and so she's seen a lot of the pieces, but maybe not specific to our company.
Yeah.
She's probably seen us present it as if we're doing it for someone else, but not. We shared kind of our soul. This is who we are. This is what drives us. This is what helps us make decisions. So that was probably really good for them to witness that.
It was. I mean, from what I remember,
it was
pretty good.
Yeah, I think it was fine. That's something that because we've talked so many times together from stage over the years with all the other things we've done, and we've certainly had that comment that it's sort of a flawless transition. Because when you typically have 2 people on stage, it's sort of that awkward in between, and I think you and I just learned early on how to pass it back and forth, in which really that's a crutch for me, and I know it probably is for you as well, that when you're running out of the next thought, instead of sitting there going and going through all those things, it's easy to just pass it back over.
We just, when we run out of something to say,
we just pass it back.
Stop talking, and then the other person is there, and that has been one of the keys to our successful style.
It is a magic piece, and wasn't it Fred Pryor who built, I think some say has been the largest seminar business in the world, when he said it in our audience, which was pretty nerve-wracking. I know at that time it was horribly nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And I think he described it as a ballet or something, that ability to just pass the baton back and forth. And I think that's kind of a cool thing that we bring to the table. But it probably is a lot deeper than that. It's the feminine, masculine, it's the boy, girl, it's all those different pieces too.
It's the mind share too.
It is mind share.
Because when we do a program like organic marketing, which kind of was invented out of thin air, we both have our own take on it, and when either one of us is talking, it's kind of a message coming through us versus us making it up as we go. So it's almost, if you're familiar with the mastermind concept, it's like that third mind that's kind of speaking through that as well. So that's a really fun thing.
That's probably a really true statement there, that whole third mind, because there's Sandy and there's Al, but then there's the Al-Sandy together. That's a whole different element. Yeah. I think people see that in us when we're interacting together doing a thing. And that's a very different entity than either me personally or you personally. And maybe there's some elements of the same, but I think that we probably come across together very differently than we come across separately.
Yeah. So a couple of the fun highlights from the show, just by way of reiterating what we did. We flew out to Vegas on Monday. We did our organic marketing program on Tuesday
morning.
had great audience interaction. It's always helpful when people are in the audience smiling. And then a handful of people came up to us after the program was over and we got to chat a little bit, which was great. And then as we were walking through the show, even more people said, "Hey, I caught your show," I caught your program, and it was great. So that was awesome. And then Al had a talk on the floor. It was a splash talk. And fun fact, little secret, he got over there a few minutes early and he was slightly afraid maybe that nobody was going to show up.
Or relieved. There was a part of me that thought maybe this is a relief that no one shows up.
So the splash talks are meant to be little intimate things. They really have enough seating for like 4 people to like get together on the show floor and have a conversation. Well, there was people waiting by the time I got there, and I think 30 people was like the minimum crowd that Al had gathered at any given point during his program on the show floor. So that was pretty exciting.
That was quite interesting. People all over the floor everywhere and standing 3 deep in this little booth, and that was cool. The topic was social media successes. And I think that's where we have so much social proof that it wasn't about let's talk theory about how you could use social media. The talk was social media successes. So it's really easy to tell it from that perspective because we have hundreds of examples of cool little things that have happened as a net result of using social media as a business tool. That being the social media success part was pretty easy to talk about our kind of windfall of really cool crap that's happened to us. And me on the inside, I struggle with that, and you know that I do, that it's this idea of I don't want to be too boastful, and I hope, and I'm sure there's some of that comes across, and I don't want it to be, because it's really, any one of them can do this thing. We don't have a special skill to do this. We've just done it. And we're reaching backwards saying, here, we'll help you come take this journey. And I really...
We will help anybody who wants to be on this journey with us. All you have to do, if you're not sure what to do, send us an email, call us on the phone. We will
text
coach
us, fax
you
us, Twitter us
every week. I know. If you want some encouragement, we actually have coached quite a few people in our day, and one of our most recent coaching experiences is there's 2 guys out of Texas. They are in the health and wellness industry, nutritional supplements, specifically for the CrossFit genre
pre-workout,
of people,
post-workout
pre and
stuff,
post-workout. We have a call with them once a week, and they are so eager for advice and suggestions, and at the end of every call, well, do you guys have homework for us?
I love that.
And they are like checking it off of their checklist. It's like, what do Sandy and Al want us to do this week? So it's fabulous. So if you're in that position and you want any help, we're here to help.
And it's because we love it. It's because it's this journey that we're on. It's really cool. Anyway, that's, for me though, I had this, I've talked many times before, the tape in my head of my mother with the open up the window, self-praise stinks.
My mom never did that.
See, my mother did that because it was a Finnish exchange student came to live with us. My mother was Finnish and she knew Finn, and that was one of his sayings, and for whatever reason it stuck in my brain like it's important. And she was basically saying you don't talk about yourself, and that was that generation.
Well, let's talk about something else fun that happened this weekend.
Oh, okay, let's talk about.
So we talked about Tuesday, and then here was Wednesday. This plaque is the Pleatco Future Leadership Award 2015, which was awarded to our service guy, Mark Curtis, which he lent me the award to be able to showcase to you briefly.
Very cool.
So this was fun, and it's, you're talking about self-praise, and I think when we're on a team, that's one of the biggest benefits that you have of being on a team, is you get to help highlight each other. So this is an award for Mark Curtis because he is awesome, and it's also just a symbol of teamwork, because teamwork has made this happen. So.
And then what's even more fun is watching him try to get that through security on the way back at the airport.
That
was
great.
More fun.
Security loved.
Couldn't tell what it was, tore his entire bag apart to look at it to see what it was.
Security loved his bag.
Because the shape was pretty interesting.
It is. It's fun.
But that award is a good example of how a team comes together and does things and support each other. Because, Mark would be the first one to say that without the support in the office, he wouldn't be able to perform at the level he does. And he's not getting that from me, he's getting that from you and your team in the office, where the team in the field requires that teamwork in the office to work as well. And I do think that's really important. And so yes, we do need to share in the successes, and yes, we do need a lot of that. And you know what, it feels good for people, but it's awkward for me. And I want to talk about it with passion because I get excited about it, but then I also am always hesitant, thinking, there's my mom in the back of my head yelling at me for talking too much about myself, and that's what I was there for.
How do you think people can move past that? Because I do definitely get that sense out of you. I get the sense out of Mark, and I get the sense out of a lot of the pool builders that we talk to as well. There's definitely some that do not have a problem tooting their own horn. But there's some that are more understated, and I think oftentimes I find them as a little bit more genuine. But in order to showcase what you do and be able to put it in front of more people, then you do need to be able to talk to about yourself.
Well, and I think there's a point too where it crosses the line, like, look at, I am so awesome because I, and that's probably the worry, is that I don't ever want that to be me, because I make jokes all the time when I introduce the whole team to people that they do this amazing work and I take the credit for it because I'm the one in the spotlight, so I have the credit given to me for it, and it's really a part of a much bigger, I'm just a part of a much bigger team of people, and I need to remember to always share them with people as well. And that's why I try to speak from the word, from our, not me. This is what we do, we versus me, because it's just one of those things.
Every team needs a leader as well. And
true.
Without the leadership and somebody with a cohesive thought to put it all together, every other person could be doing something, but it wouldn't come together. So there's a point of that leadership where I think leaders can't be afraid to take that ownership of their awesomeness as well, because without a strong leader, the rest of it would fall apart.
Which brings up a whole nother point. A whole other thing that came up for me, and I haven't talked too much about you about it since, but we did touch on it just a little bit. We do not in our industry have a lot of people that can really articulate their words around feelings, emotions about the industry, about how to really make change in the industry and do something significant in it. And that bummed me out a little bit, that in the conversations with some pretty quote-unquote high-level people in the industry, it's still like a bumbling idiot industry. And I think that there's so much to be had, and fortunately you and I have been on this path of self-discovery / center square of you for so long that we've dug really deep, and I recognize how surface level people are starting to talk about words like passion, starting to talk about words like artistic, but they don't even know what they're meaning. They're saying the words, but there's not that creamy, yummy smoothness behind it yet. And I'm hoping that as our industry develops more, we go into warp speed of let's start living in that space, because you and I do, with our mastermind, the Al Sandy thing, is we live more in that yummy space of life. And that was a bit disappointing, and I know we've been witnessing it for years, but I think I was more sensitive to it this time with some of the other experiences that happened. I realized how kind of raw it still is.
Well, think about the reason that we started the Insights Group, our entrepreneur support center, in the first place. It's because you'd been a pool guy and you were craving more of that. So I don't know that unless somebody knows to look for it, that they're actively improving those skills and abilities. And maybe there's a place for an Ask the Pool Guy training academy for people in the pool business. Not that we want to run a training academy, but because we'd like all of the industry to be able to embrace and communicate a little bit more effectively with each other, and then with the audience and the consumers in that kind
well,
of
I think that
way.
Certainly translates into how people communicate then to their customers, how they communicate with their employees, how they, in all of those interactions. And when it's as stilted as it is within the industry, with industry peers, can only imagine when they go out into the world and try to articulate that, there's got to be something missing there. And maybe there's some space for words training, ability training. You know, we fortunately know that Toastmasters is a really important thing. It helps you understand your speech patterns. I know and recognize those repetitious patterns that I have in my voice. And I also know to slow my brain down to not and ah as much as I could, like most people do. And I think everyone should be in that, but we can't make them. But that's just one of those little pieces that helps us smooth the edges. You know, it smooths those edges off so we're not quite so harsh. So instead, it's just a little bit softer. And I think that's, and from an industry standpoint, I would love to see that. Because there's so much more to be had, and there's so much more depth and richness. And think about our client base and the customers that are buying our product. Many of them are much smoother. You know, they've lived their lives, they've accomplished things, so they've built this smoothness about them, and their industry sort of crashes into their homes with this rough whatever. And at any level, it doesn't have to be only the high end. Think about someone who's worked their life and they've been able to save up enough or work enough to buy a really basic pool. They're still way up here compared to the world in general of people, so they've accomplished something. So they're starting to gain something, some smoothness in there, and yet our industry doesn't treat them that way. And I shared a story with, after the Splash Talk, there was a gentleman there from Southern California, and we were talking about how his business is really similar to my life in terms of went from building lots and lots of pools to building just a handful of the ones that he really likes. And I was telling him the story of the BNI meeting that I went to where the real estate agent had to play me that week, and she put the ducky around her thing and talked about my industry as being fun and family and exciting. And I was rather shocked and surprised because I didn't see any of that. I saw the work and the grumpy and the ugly when she looked at our industry from the outside in going, wow, it's all about fun and excitement. And she shared me. And that was one of those trigger moments that changed a lot about my perspective on life. And I was just resharing that story. And that's really what it is. So we need to really help honor all levels of pool industry people and the customers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think a takeaway just from this conversation is to reiterate that we do have a group on Facebook where we want to have more of these conversations going on, which is the Organic Marketing Club. If you find Ask the Pool Guy and you're not even sure where to look for the club, just send a little message and I'll make sure that you get in there. The other thing is we are very actively interested in putting together a builder's mastermind, and it could be builder or it could be just pool industry mastermind, where a group of us get together from around the country and we go to visit each other's operations and kind of see what's going on in different parts of the country and continue having these conversations about things that we can do to make the world a better place in the pool industry. So if you're interested in that as well, we'd love to have you involved if you're a builder, or, you know, even if you are a customer, a consumer that could add input to this and would like to travel the country with us to see cool and interesting things. I think that could be fun.
Yeah, and I think for the guy or gal that wants to really make a difference, it would make the impact so much easier if they had a sphere of people to hang around. Think about, for us, we have these neat groups that we bop in and out of, and it's really cool. But for us to have a core within the industry of people that are like-minded, they don't think like us because we don't. If they're just like us, we don't need them. But they have their own set of ways and their own certain way, and the thing that they do is unique and different. But we can glean from them, and they can glean from us. What a powerful place that would be. That affects change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I envision calling it the Pool Industry Mastermind,
Yeah.
and I see starting it as soon as next month. So join us. We'll do the first one here. If you can make it in person, great. If we need to blab you in or periscope you in or something like that, or Skype you in, we can definitely look at what that would look like. But yeah, I think let's stop talking about it and let's make it happen.
Let's do it. Yeah, I like it. It's a good idea.
Awesome. So until next time, that's the Pool Guy.